and gentlemen, welcome to King of Kodiak. I'm Kodiak. This is episode 32, and with me today is Nim. Nim, how are you doing?
Nim's doing great. Nim is chilling right now. Nim's in the middle of making some stuff, so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Nim, let's get started with the bare necessities. Sorry, Sim.
All right.
All right. How long have you been playing Amtgard?
Nim has no idea. Nim wants to say 4, maybe.
4. Responded by itself is kind of vague. 4 months, 4 days, 4 years. 4 eons.
Nim thinks 4 years.
Okay.
We could roll a dice, and that'll be Nim's time in Amtgard so far.
Okay. You got a dice ready to go? Let chaos reign, Nim. Let chaos reign.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Nim's been doing Amtgard for 5 years.
All right, there we go. And how long have you been aware of Amtgard?
Probably about a year before that, when Leowick and Darius started.
Okay. All right. The next question we talked about a little off camera. Can you tell us a little bit about the personality? Where does Nim come from?
So Nim is actually a D&D character that I used to play. Nim was an NPC at first that I kind of fell in love with, and then Nim turned into that. And then that's who Nim plays when Nim's out at Amtgard. It was an abandoned cart, and Nim was sitting on the cart, and the adventurers come by and they ask what happened, and Nim explains it and then says it was 3 bad guys, and the adventurers go off and go to fight these 3 bad guys, and it turns out to be 30 bad guys because Nim can't count.
All right.
And that character tagged along with the party afterwards and just caused mayhem. And then from there, I adapted Nim into a character, and that's where Nim's been ever since. And Nim's tried a lot of different things. Nim's been all over the place, and nothing's ever worked out for Nim. And so Nim decided just to do Nim.
Nim is Nim.
Nim is Nim.
So there was always the question in the bare necessities about the evolution of the persona. Do you want to delve into a little bit of the yeses and nos, the stops and goes?
Nim's not really sure. Nim, at the beginning, Nim was still trying to learn, and people wouldn't let Nim experiment on them, so Nim decided to experiment on himself. And so Nim has a lot of weird things going on, like Nim is missing a couple of toes and usually has some weird things going on, a different change in clothes or things of that sort. And having it convert over to being an Amtgard character, Nim does that in a way of just being strange, going up to people and giving random gifts, standing on tables. All of a sudden, Nim is the center of attention, and then Nim disappears and is in the background, and the next thing you know, Nim's set something on fire, and characters have to put it out. So that's how Nim kind of went from being a D&D character to being an Amtgard character, and that's how Nim shows Nim's weirdness in a place setting as Amtgard.
Okay.
That's about what Nim has.
Why does Nim stand on tables?
Nim stands on tables because tables have a tendency to fly away, and Nim's doing everyone a service of making sure the tables stay where the tables need to be.
Oh. I was unaware, so thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
We'll have to look into that when awards come around again. That's a good service. Stillhet would like to know, as part of the bare necessities, if you could tell us about your heraldry.
Nim's heraldry is a couple of pieces. One is a fox on the side, which stands for Nim's cunningness. The one is a dragon on the other side, which stands for Nim's fortitude. The dice in the middle are to show that there is to everything a bit of chaos and a bit of chance. And then written down at the bottom in Draconic says progress and humility. And that is just to remind everyone that we make progress when we take that time to be in those positions where we could humiliate ourselves or create something immensely magical. But those are a really fine line between the two. So
Great. Oh, that's awesome. I had guessed at a couple of those before because I wanted to know. And I didn't guess the dragon for fortitude. I guessed the dragon for dragon spine, but that makes perfect sense. That's fantastic. Also, having dice as someone who's so as chaotic as Nim is, oh, that's so good. That's really good. Which award or achievement is Nim most proud of receiving?
Nim doesn't focus too much on the rewards. Nim knows that Nim has some. I think the one that Nim got like the biggest moment from hearing Nim's name called for it was probably, I think it's called the Mask. Mask something? Order of the Mask?
Yep.
Yeah, that one where it's for your persona, your acting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nim
2019 right? From Darius for wonderful portrayal of Nim.
Yes, Nim liked that one because we talked a lot about Nim, and that made Nim happy because everyone wasn't going, Nim, stop! Nim, don't do this.
Fantastic. What is Nim's favorite battle game?
Oh, Nim's favorite battle game is probably Drit at this moment.
Okay.
And Drit, it stands for Dragon Rider Initiative, and it's a game Nim built to play when we went and did our Dragon Spine, Dragon Rider around the whole kingdoms. And it's where Nim gets to shoot sheep in random directions and make other characters run for those sheep, and then put the sheep in a basket to earn points. And no one's friends, and Nim gets to bah randomly. And so it makes Nim laugh every single time we're out there. And these guys are just booking it to these sheep. And then there's like, you get into these huddles where there's 3 people standing around a sheep in the middle, and they're all just waiting for the first person to make a move. It's utter chaos. Nim loves it.
There may be a request later on, maybe not tonight, somewhere down the road where Nim is going to be asked to bah for fun.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. What's Nim's favorite class to play?
Archer. Nim knew that one. Nim gets an A. A.
Very good, Nim.
Yes.
Does that mean that the favorite weapon is pretty obvious, Nim, or is there a different favorite weapon?
No, Nim's favorite weapon is shooting people with a bow. It's like utter chaos from far away to where they're in the middle of the battle. They think that they're winning the fight that they're participating in, and then out of nowhere, an arrow to the back. It's hilarious.
And a floating table. And
a floating table. Well, if Nim's been on top of it, there's been no floating tables.
Well, if we're in the middle of a battle game and you found time to go to the table, you're more Nim than Nim. I would be shocked. That's I apologize for.
Nim has been known to wander off a battlefield, so I would not say Nim is a very reliable ally. So if you got strategy where Nim is like a key point in that strategy, don't count on it working, because Nim will get bored at times and just disappear. Sometimes Nim will be on the other team side looking at the egg, being like, this is awesome. Putting the egg back where it's supposed to be, wandering off that way. Yeah.
Fantastic. I can't. I just want to be Yes, I'm all about this. All right, Nib, those are the bare necessities. Sorry, Sin. Now we have the 3 questions that the Kingdom of Kodiak viewers have put together that have been part of every episode. Starting off with Kron's question, Sir Glenolf is do a toaster, and
Do a
there's
toaster.
possibility of a soda maker. Where does Nim stand on these things?
Nim is thinking at this point, toaster should have been delivered. Should be there already. Nim
Okay.
thinks on the soda machine, there's too much bubbly in that, and we should go for an ice cream machine instead.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared to switch the question, Nim, but there is a lot of bubbles in a soda maker and less bubbles in an ice cream maker. So I like where your head's at. That's a good thought process. But as far as a toaster goes, you're saying Sir Glenelg should already have received a toaster?
Yeah, should have gotten the toaster already. Nim drew a little picture, toaster, it had a little kawaii face on it. Nim sent that out.
Oh, Nim. Oh, that's great. I'm sure Sir Glenelg treasures the picture of the kawaii toaster, but without the capabilities of cooking the bread with the kawaii pitcher toaster, he's still going to need a toaster.
Whoa. No one specified the toaster. They
It's
just
true.
said toaster.
It's true.
Nim delivered toaster.
Nim's right.
Oh, Nim had a brilliant idea. If we get ice cream machine and soda machine, we could do the best thing and make root beer floats. That's where that.
Sir Francis, I know you're in the chat. Is a root beer float mid-rain a possibility? Can we do that? All right. So moving on, Stillhat would like to know, Nim, what are your thoughts on bears?
Nim's never been mauled by a bear, so Nim would say positive. The pixies, on the other hand, are a no-go.
No pixies.
No pixies.
Okay. I'm not aware of too many pixies. I know a fairy, but not a pixie. Is it the cold iron thing? Do you prefer things that don't get hurt by cold iron?
No. Pixies just don't like the fact that Nim went and shook them all out and stole all their pixie dust, and then they got all butt hurt. And Nim Strell's trying to work that one out.
Okay. All right. What or who is your favorite bear?
Nim remembers this. It's the one that Nim gave the most gifts to.
Oh, so Stillhat asks in the following question, is your favorite bear the one who gave the most Nimian tokens, which would be Stillhat?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Stillhat. 3-1. You got one on me. That's fine. I'm strong in the second half anyways. Don't worry about it. Okay. And then Stillhat would like to know, what is your favorite type of bear?
Red panda. Does that count as a bear?
Sure.
Nim likes red pandas.
Okay.
For bear-esque creatures.
We're still trying to narrow down Stillhat's bear type. She was a sun bear last week, but now is starting to lean towards a moon bear. So, she wants a bear with a U on their neck and a long tongue, and they both have it. So, but red panda, that works. Stillhat would like to know, what are your thoughts on the DS mobile pool?
DS mobile pool. Nim's not sure what that is.
It would be a pool on the back of someone's truck, and it would be driven around. Yeah.
Oh, Nim remembers this odd conversation. Yes. No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No. Nim would love to have a little magical box in there as people rolled around in the pool, because Nim thinks that would be funny, but Nim doesn't want to be in the pool.
Okay. Does it change Nim's mind if it's a jacuzzi?
Yes.
So
Nim,
Nim is
Nim would do it if it's a jacuzzi and there was no crazy driving.
okay. All right. So a stationary jacuzzi it supersedes a mobile pool.
Yes.
So in the world of chaos, Nim would prefer the more basic of the two. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Nim prefers looking at chaos from afar. Nim likes starting chaos. When Nim's in the middle of the chaos, Nim's like, oh goodness, what did Nim do?
would bears be allowed in the pool or jacuzzi?
Yes.
You don't sound
Yes.
too sure about it. Okay, all right.
Nim's not positive on it, but Nim's thinking that yes, in some shape or form, we could probably do bears.
Okay. And would the Nimians be allowed in the pool or jacuzzi?
No. If any of you have met a Nimian or are currently a Nimian, you know why.
Wow. We're gonna have to talk to some of them at some point. All right. Well, that'll get us to our questions. Much like most of the other times, I categorize your questions. You had a lot of questions about your Nimians, and then some a decent amount of questions about the mind of Nim. So those are the two categories. Let's talk about some Dominions. But we have to start off by knowing their leader. We have to know Nim a little bit first. So
Okay.
Sir Francis wants to know who is Nim and what makes Nim Nim.
I don't know, Kodiak. Who is Nim? What are all these questions for, Kodiak? You're getting kind of sus here. Like,
Well, Kodiak
know
is
you
sus.
did it.
Yeah, that's
very
fair.
sus.
Yeah. I'm more
Right.
than the imposter. That's true. But don't try to curve the question here. Who's Nim?
Nim is Nim,
Okay.
and Nim doesn't know how to answer that. Besides, Nim is Nim. Nim, like many things, is basic and simple, and yet mysterious and complicated.
Well, okay. Well, Beatrix would like to know, as a new person, why does Nim refer to Nim as Nim, which would be the third person to most other people?
That would be because of Nim's experimenting on himself. Nim can't retain a memory very long. So in order for Nim to remain Nim has to say Nim's name in order to remember it.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, at least you're doing good things out of it. You're remembering your name. That's good. A three-part question here. Why is Nim Nim? What does Nim Nim? How does Nim Nim?
Nim Nims in the Nim way with the Nims of the Nim through the Nim.
Right. Exactly. That's
Right.
That's what I thought the answer was. I was almost certain of it. So
it was definitely Nim, except for when it wasn't Nim.
Yes, I knew the answer. I was just testing everyone else. Darius would like to know when Nim is playing. When is Nim planning on unleashing all of the Dominions upon Amtgardia?
As soon as Nim has more Nimians throughout the kingdom. A Nimian in each area would preferably be best, but you didn't hear that from Nim.
Sir Francis would like to know, is Nim a Kender?
Kender. Does Nim know what a Kender is? Nope, Nim's Nim.
Nim is Nim. Fair enough.
Nim.
Darius would like to know, what are some of the first tasks Nim would like the Dominions to accomplish?
Nim usually has Nimians trying to accomplish something, but Nimians, just as Nim, tend to do whatever Nimians want, which makes it kind of hard to get the Nimians to do what Nimians are supposed to do. But most of the time, in that, they're doing what Nim wants, which is chaos.
So by not doing what you want them to do, the Dominions are doing what you want them to do.
Yes, Nim got creative and used that reverse psychology stuff. Yeah.
Nim is, yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Thinking.
would like to know, how many Niminians are there currently?
Nim is pretty sure all of GFH is a Nimian, except for like a handful, and they're getting by like technicalities, really.
So I guess the follow-up question to that is, how many more do you need?
Well, Nimians have been very local to Nim's area because they're very much in Nim's reach. And so Nim has only gotten a few outside of GFH to be Nimians.
Darius would like to point out, not a Nimin.
Yeah, he's one of those ones that got off with a technicality.
Oh.
We'll get him eventually.
Okay, all right. How does someone become a Niminian?
Nimians become Nimians by helping Nim in any way, shape, or form. So if you've helped Nim pick up a battle game, if you've helped Nim with a game setup, if you've helped Nim tie Nim's shoe, if you've held any of Nim's borrowing equipment, you are a Nimian.
Okay. And somehow Darius has dodged all of that, huh?
Yeah, that's because he made himself immune and all of his monarchy party immune while he was in office.
Oh.
So
that's a strong power to have.
Yes, he got away with being monarch immunity to becoming a Nimian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that into play myself. Thank you, Darius. So that there's no possibility of that becoming a thing now.
Just wait until you leave office.
That's fair. I guess I've just got to stay in office forever. I'll have to find a way. Darius would like to know, are there any GFH members that have not been turned? Darius is one of them. To a Nimian that would you feel if they? How would you feel if they formed a resistance?
Let's see. The Nim is pretty sure it's Darius, Benku, Leowick. I think that's it for people immune or had immunity and have not yet caught the Nimian. And for creating a resistance, good luck. Nim can barely control Nimians.
You said catch it. Is this a disease or a parasitic kind of thing?
In a way, yes. It's all of the above. It is being a person, it is a disease, it is a madness, it is a The Nimians will get you in odd ways. I'm telling you.
Oh.
Least expected, and then bam, Nimian.
For some reason, Dark City just popped into my head. If you haven't seen that movie, watch it and then come back to this point and be like, oh yeah, Kodiak's right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay. Dame Leela would like to know, does Nim have any secrets?
Yes. Nim has a few secrets, but as secrets stay, secrets should be.
Oh, all right. Well, Dame Leela, there's secrets there. Does Nim do trade?
Trade as in like trading things?
Like secrets for loyalties?
Oh, no. Nim doesn't usually do loyalty things just because Nim with the whole chaos can't really stay true to loyalties. So
I was trying to get you a knight there, Nim.
Oh, Oh.
because Dame Leela from Pegasus Valley, that's a get as far as the Ninian goes. That's a I mean, there might be people lining up after you get a knight that'd be like, hey, yeah, let's do that.
Hmm. Hmm. Then we'll have to think on that some more.
Just trying to help.
Yeah.
Last
good point.
question in the Nimian category, and it reflects back on when the chaos begins, when all of these Nimians are sent upon the world. Why does Nim like to blow stuff up?
Nim likes to blow stuff up because it is very shiny and there's lots of fireworks, and usually people are screaming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So it's
very similar to setting things on fire.
Which Nim doesn't have a problem with.
Nope.
Fair. All right. So now let's get into the second category, which is the mind of Nim. We got a little bit of it with your cult.
Cult. Oh no.
Eliza Joe would like to know, what are your goals in Amtgard, Nim?
Fun, chaos, meeting people. Nim likes making friends. Nim makes more enemies than friends, but Nim likes friends. That's why Nim gives gifts. That and because Nim's mom always told don't go anywhere without bringing a gift. So
that's fantastic. Still would like to know, what was your first Amtgard ANS entry?
Oh gosh. Does Nim even know? It was probably a set of things. Nim's constantly creating, but Nim didn't actually start entering things into ANS competitions until really recently. I want to say it was a pendant, a cloak, or a jester hat.
All right. Okay. Darius would like to know, out of all of the crafts Nim enjoys, what is Nim's favorite?
Leather making. Nim likes doing the leather works. It's a lot of fun. It's very malleable for the different types that you can do it for. And it's the one that I probably do the most.
Okay. Stillhat would like to know, what is your favorite piece of garb, Nim?
Nim likes that it jingles.
That's a really good reason to like something.
Yeah. When you go like this, it just jingles. Nim likes that.
Yes. I'm trying to stay on track, but then there's a chat about how the cult of Nim is like, Sir Francis is for it. He is pro cult of Nim. So maybe
Nim, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Moving on. Darius would like to know, what are Nim's thoughts in regards to how GFH has adapted to the COVID changes?
Nim would say that we've done pretty good. Yeah. Nim likes that with our Monarch Gazelle, how proactive they've been with making sure that people are getting on and setting up like these little challenges for them to do throughout the week. If like it's the end of Sunday and you just got done with a long day of work and you're totally tired, you don't want to craft anything, you don't want to go swing stick, you can sign in and do these cute little challenges that they have that take maybe 15 minutes and earn credit that way, which Nim was super excited about that. Yeah, I think that would be one of the biggest ways.
Okay. What does Nim have planned for the second half of Squire Zell's reign?
Nim's not sure. Nim hopes to complete Nim's boomerang that Nim's supposed to be creating, but Nim's got distracted a couple times. Nim created Bagogi instead of a boomerang, and then Nim created an airbender cake instead of the boomerang. So Nim will come back around to that hopefully in the second half.
Okay. All right. Eliza Joy would like to know, how do you feel about being in the office now?
Nim didn't even want to be in office. Nim got appointed. Nim told them they were crazy. Nim told them they should pick someone else, and they still came back around and went, Nim, you're our guy. And Nim was like, okay, Nim will figure it out. That's how that went.
I remember talking to Nim when the rain started, and trust is with Nim. What do you hope to achieve while you're in office?
More glorious chaos. Nim pretty sure that Nim's just hindering the process that's the current monarchy, because our current monarchy is just pushing through all of Nim's stuff, and Nim likes memes, so that's Nim's contribution to this reign. Here's a meme. I didn't do it. Nim totally did that. No, I didn't. So maybe Nim's helping. Maybe.
I just wanted to point out I needed this today. Thank you so much, Nim. Anyways, Stillhat would like to know, do you want to run for Kingdom Office at any point?
No, Nim does not have those types of ambitions. Nim barely made it through. Wait, Nim's still working on this one. Never mind. Nim's still working on this one, and Nim's not sure Nim's cut out for this. Nim likes helping. Like if Kingdom needs help and they need something, Nim's like, yeah, Nim will help. But being in an office where Nim has to make decisions when Nim can barely remember Nim's name, maybe not the best idea.
We'll talk about you helping a little bit later, but okay, that's fair. Nim needs to remember that Nim is Nim, so too many things put on the plate would make it hard for Nim to remember Nim.
Yes, except for if we're blowing stuff up, Nim's there.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm following. I'm in the headspace of understanding. Sir Francis is asking if maybe Nim would ever want to be the court jester.
Nim would do it. Nim would do it. Yep.
Okay.
Nim would show up 15 minutes late though, and be half prepared.
Okay. I'm gonna hold Nim to that. All right. Darius would like to know, since Nim's combat experience is focused on stabbing people from far away, what are Nim's thoughts about archery in Amtgard?
Nim likes the mechanics that we have for archery. Nim just thinks that for each park level, and Nim doesn't know what every park level is doing for archery and for their safety, but I know for GFH, ours was pretty lax. Nim would like to kind of hunker down on that a little bit more with checking poundages on bows and checking arrows more frequently, because Nim understands how long it takes to check arrows. Nim carries around 32 arrows everywhere Nim goes, and checking every single one of those can get taxing, but deadliest weapon, which is one of the reasons Nim likes to use it. But for overall, I think that would be one of the biggest things, was just checking in on the poundage on bows and on arrowheads more frequently.
Okay. How does Nim feel about specialty arrows?
Nim thinks that they're cool, but Nim doesn't like recharging them. It takes too long.
Oh, okay. So we need to get one of your members to just follow you around and
yes.
and like chant for you so that you can
Yes,
understand.
is that allowed? Nim
No,
needs a Nimian
no.
for that, just for that.
Yeah, I mean it's not allowed, but it's still like doesn't mean that it's not something you should be doing. I'm just saying.
Nim could probably get away with it. Let's just not tell anyone, okay? Shh.
Well, I mean, okay. If you're watching this, ignore that last 2 sentences. It didn't happen. So you already kind of discussed the changes that you'd like to see with bows, Nim. So let's move to the next question. Eliza Joy would like to know, what knighthood would you like to receive?
Does Nim have to be a knight?
No, Nim doesn't have to be a knight.
Nim doesn't have any ambitions for going after any sort of knighthoods. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but it's not one of Nim's goal. Nim likes focusing on more of like the flurb aspect of it, and for Nim, a knighthood just doesn't ever seem like something Nim would work towards unless it was like a knighthood of chaos.
That sounds good. That sounds good. I bet you there's some anti-paladins that are sitting in the chat right now that would be all for a chaotic anti-paladin Nim walking around.
That would be cool. No, maybe Nim should go for a knighthood.
Oh,
Nim will have to reconsider.
I know. I'm making you think about some stuff, Nim, and that's important.
Yes. You're upping Nim. Nim's down here at like local level. Nims needs to start thinking bigger.
Yeah,
whole world.
It's what I try to do, but so this is the question that we were going to come back to. Damon O'Bally would like to know, what class would you be willing to teach if given a chance?
Archer. Nim would teach Archer. Nim likes teaching how to use the bow. Nim likes showing people how the arrows go, and then Nim likes challenging them to a game of horse. So.
Okay. If it wasn't a class in the sense of Amtgard classes, but more of a, hey, we're on Discord, would you be willing to teach a class? What class would Nim be willing to teach?
What class would be useful? Nim asks himself. Nim would be down to teach like some chainmail or some leather, because those are ones that I have like right on hand. Nim could totally just be like, look, something last minute, because Nim works like that a lot.
Okay. Nim should be aware that we have a new reign starting, and I'm sure that this would be the start of setting up some scheduling for some classes for next reign. So
did Nim just agree to something? Nim didn't think Nim was agreeing to anything. Nim never said Nim was nimming anything.
Okay. Well, Damon O'Bally seems to believe that her answer or her question was answered. So thank you, Nim.
Yes.
Eliza Joy would like to know, what is the greatest words of wisdom that you have received?
Not trying to be better than somebody else, trying to be better than who Nim was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what word of wisdom would you give a newbie that's joining Amtgard?
I think newbies tend to focus on like it being uncomfortable or being awkward or not sure how things work or things of that sort. And then would be like, don't worry about it. In those moments that we're uncomfortable in what's going on are those moments that we discover something truly amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta push past that awkwardness that comes from starting something new and discover what's beyond that, because Nim makes a lot of awkward comments and Nim just keeps rolling. And it works every time for Nim. We get beyond that awkward point and everyone's laughing. Some are laughing at Nim, some are laughing with Nim. Either way, we're laughing.
Good. Still Hat would like to mention that it sounds like you're on for leather. Now, Still Hat will be the incoming regent for next reign. So that's, it's a high praise from the.
All right. Because it's Still Hat, I'll do you a solid. Nim will be there.
Look at that.
Last minute and 15 minutes late.
Still Hat, you got some leather this reign coming up. That's fantastic. Nim, that is the end of the mind of Nim. So we are left with the funny questions. And I believe they start with.
Wasn't all funny?
Well, I mean, Nim is hilarious. So of course they were all funny, but these are meant to be funny from the people asking the questions in hopes that Nim will be able to answer funny in return. So,
Gotcha. Nim gotcha.
all right. So Nim, what is your favorite color?
Nim likes purple.
Nim likes
and
purple.
black.
And black.
And mice.
Mice isn't a color.
Maybe
Nim.
a little red. Oh, really? You sure? Pretty sure they're like a micey color.
Listen, okay, so,
right?
Well, I mean, there's a variety of colors for mice. I'm not saying you're wrong, Nim. I'm just saying the word mice is not, in fact, a color.
But it encompasses many colors, so it
does.
could be a color.
Yes, it's true.
Yes.
But in itself is not a color. But that's fine. That's fine. You answered the question. That's fine, Nim. Not a problem. Still, I would like to know, what is your favorite dinosaur? Triceratops.
What is that one called? Triceratops! Yes. Nim likes the Triceratops. Nim mostly likes Triceratops just because Nim likes watching the Try Guys, and they're funny, and they do a lot of crazy, chaotic things, so...
Okay. So you like a specific dinosaur for what current day people do on a YouTube show?
Yes, on the Magic Box.
On the Magic Box.
Yeah, Leowick showed me how to use the Magic Box, and that's how Nim found it.
Leowick, that's a good minion right there. Keep that one around.
Yes.
Darius.
He's not a Nimian, but
well, if he's teaching you how to do stuff, isn't he really though?
He's like a right-hand man Nimian.
Yeah.
We should give it a different name.
Let's find a name for it. That's great.
Yes,
I'm sure that
later.
the KOK people would love to help with that. Darius would like to know a bunch of D&D stuff. So let's ask some D&D stuff as it's the beginnings of Nim. It feels like this is a great way to end a conversation with Nim as well. What is Nim's favorite D&D class?
Nim's favorite D&D class is a rogue.
It's so close to the right answer, Nim. It's so close. It's not.
No, Nim's pretty sure it's rogue.
Yeah.
It's rogue. Yeah. Nim likes rogues because Nim can do sneaky, shadowy things.
Well, it's like I said, it's close.
And wield a bow.
I never get to play it, but Artificer is the best class.
Ooh, Nim does like that one, but rogue.
But rogue, okay. Well.
Rogue, Kodiak. Rogue.
Sorry.
You're looking sus now. What are you doing here? Looking
I'm
sus.
always sus, okay? That's
Nim is always the imposter.
I wish it was true, but even if Nim was the imposter, they're voting Kodiak out. So it is what it is. Yeah, that's pretty sus. What are some of Nim's favorite D&D stories?
Most of Nim's favorite D&D stories have to deal with Nim, and also this character Nim plays called Bibbit. He's a halfling who thinks he's a dwarf, and he's very gung-ho on everything, and yeah. Yeah, Tidbit's
That's
funny.
great.
He's like Tidbit of the Lion's Bane, and he kicks butt, and he'll start a fight at the drop of a hat. So
Awesome. I'm currently getting a little bit of flack in the chat because I said artificer the way that everyone else would typically say it instead of the way that I would say it, which is correct. But that's fine. That's fine. No big deal. This is about Nim, folks. Let's focus on Nim. Nim, which D&D race do you enjoy playing the most?
ooh, are we allowed to do a monster race?
Absolutely.
Okay. Nim likes playing a doppelganger for monster race. DMs hate it, and it's funny as heck because you can transform into all sorts of crazy things. And if we're staying in like our starter pack of races, Nim would have to say halfling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does Nim fall on the changeling? As it is a playable race, but it's kind of the same shapeshifter kind of thing.
Eh, eh, eh.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think Nim prefers like the doppelgangers just because they're a little bit more versatile in Nim's opinion for playability, and they do throw more of a wrench into what you can transform into.
Okay. That's fair. Last question. What D&D creature would you like to unleash upon your players?
Nim likes to, at least in one campaign, unleash a dragon. It's not called Dungeons and Dragons for nothing. Like there needs to be some sort of form of dragon in there at some point.
Unleashing
Whether
a
if
dragon.
it's like, unleashing a dragon. Like
my campaigns
there's a
start off
dragon
with
underneath
dragons.
Dragonspine, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but my campaigns start with dragons like being a thing. That's ask Kenjin. He has to deal with it.
Our dragons are a thing. It's just like not always starting with dragons. But Nim thinks that's a classic. It should be in every single one. There should be some sort of dragon, whether it's talking your way out of a horde or whatnot. Dragon.
Yeah, that's the right
And a
answer.
goblin. And a goblin. Nim's adding to that because Nim likes goblins. Gobs.
I'm a fan. I appreciate Nim's stance on Nim's D&D games. Nim, that is all the questions I have for you.
Woo! Nim did it.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna just do some announcements if I can, real quick, and then we'll say goodbye. In 2 weeks, the 7th is going to be Dragonspine's End Rain for the Kingdom, so please attend that. Our Monarchy team went way out of the way and found a bunch of awards to give out, even though we haven't played Amtgard in person. We're trying really hard to keep everyone entertained. So please try to find time to come on the 7th. Additionally, the week after that, we'll start the second reign of Kodiak, which is the magician-themed reign. If you have questions that you don't feel comfortable asking in public, please reach out to me and ask. Additionally, we're going to continue with Champions Challenges and Regions Challenges. Local monarchs, you've been reached out to about also stepping up maybe and doing some stuff with weekly Amtgardia at this point. So reach out to me if you can do that. But again, Nim, thank you so much for coming on. Big fan of Nim.
Although Nim hasn't given you a gift yet, so I don't know if we're friends yet.
Well, see, is that really on Kodiak?
And Nim didn't do it. It's not Nim's fault.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I'm willing to be bold and accept gifts from you at this point because I have the monarch immunity. So, I'm okay with accepting gifts and trinkets and whatnot at this point, as they can't impact me. Also, if you know anything about Kodiak's backstory right now, Kodiak's not necessarily in charge of Kodiak either. So that's
Ooh,
yeah.
Nim
Yeah.
likes the sound of that.
But until next week, this has been Kingdom of Kodiak. I've been Kodiak. Goodbye.
I've been